Senate will come to order. Chief Clerk, please call the roll.
Roll call for the fifth legislative day, February 13th, 2026. Anderson? Here. Barlow? Present. Mauner? Here. Brennan? Here. Case? Present. Cooper? Here. Crago? Here. Crum? Present. Dockstader? Here. Driscoll? Here. French? Here. Guru? Here. Hicks? Here. Hutchings? Here. Ide? Here. Jones? Here. Cole? Present. Landon? Here. Larson? Here. Love? Here. McEwen? Here. Nethercott? Here. Olson? Here. Pappas? Here. Pearson? Here. Rothfuss? Here. Salazar? Here. Schuler? Here. Scott? Here. Steinmetz? Here. President Beitman?
Here.
31 present.
Thank you, Ellen. Prayer today by Reverend Christian Paul Basil from the St. Mark's Episcopal Church here in.
Let us pray. Gracious and loving God, who has brought us to a new day filled with fresh possibilities and opportunities, we give you thanks for the privilege and ability to gather in this place. And we pray that as you guide the councils and assemblies of this nation and throughout the world, that you would also guide the Wyoming Senate in the work set before them today. We pray also for the people of this state, for their trust, their needs, and their hopes. Make us worthy of the authority we've been given. Give us clarity of mind and humility of heart, that what is said and done here may serve the people with equity and dignity, so that those we serve may live their lives in the same love of liberty that we proclaim. Grant to those assembled here the faith to continue when the work is hard. Give them wisdom when things remain unclear, and provide grace between each member, so that their labor may bear good fruit for this state and for the world. All this we ask in the name of your Son, our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Senator Crum, will you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Reverend, thank you so much for being with us this week. We appreciated your prayers and thoughts with us and being with us all week. And on behalf of the Wyoming Senate, I'd like to present to you this certificate of appreciation. So thank you. Have a wonderful weekend.
You're here.
Reading correction and approval of journal.
Mr. President, the Journal Committee reports that the Journal of Thursday, February 12, 2026 has been read and recommends that.
You've heard the report. Are there any objections? There being none, the report is adopted. Okay, we don't want to keep the good senator waiting. We'll do the doctors of the day in a second, but ladies and gentlemen, as you know, yeah, we do have the doctor of the day. He comes with no introduction, but he's our man. He's a former Wyoming state senator. It is with great honor and privilege to welcome Senator John Barrasso back to his roots at the Wyoming Legislature.
Thank you. Mr. President, what a privilege it is to be back. I love this state senate. Love it. Love coming back here. I came in and John Culp said, how are things in Washington? Look, it's always better in Wyoming. Always. And you come back to the Senate after all these years and lots have changed. Like Bill Landon, you moved your desk to the back and some things never change. Speaking of Charlie Scott, I understand when he and Buffalo Bill got sworn in, they were still tying up their horses outside. Is that true, Charlie? Don't. don't remember that far back. A great day here. We had the municipalities, WAM is here. I had a chance to meet with a number of mayors earlier this morning. The county commissioners are here. Had a chance to talk with all of them. And it's great to be with all of you. And I told both of those groups, like, aren't we so fortunate to live in a state with a cowboy code, where we live each day with courage, take pride in their work, and do what needs to be done. We have 2 Olympic athletes, one a gold and a silver. You know, you could hear the cheers from all around Wyoming, but the earth really shook when Frank Crum scored a touchdown for the Denver Broncos in a winning game against Josh Allen in the Buffalo City. That was something. Thanks for the privilege of allowing me to serve with Cynthia and with Harriet. You know, every day we're fighting for the people of Wyoming. And we have a very good working relationship with the governor. Mark Gordon, you know, his campaign slogan was tough and tested and trusted. We have a great working relationship and are trying to help him. He tries to help us, and we communicate frequently because we know our job. The job for all of us is to protect and promote Wyoming. Our jobs, our economy, the environment, the people that live here, our special places, and our values. And that's what we try to do each and every day. So I'm just so very, very grateful. I think things are heading in the right direction. We try to solve problems for Wyoming people. If you have my phone number, text me, email me. If you're going to come to Washington, we want to see you. I mean, Stefan, you were there. You got a chance to see the whip's office. If you haven't had a chance, we need to get you to Washington. The county commissioner's got me this great whip now that I'm in the whip's office, and it's a historic office, but I'd love for you to see it. The best thing for me is, and you saw it, is in the ceiling, we have for all time and eternity now, the seal of the great state of Wyoming, in the seal of the Capitol building in the whip's office, and it's staying. It's not going anywhere. You know, legislatively, we've been fighting to make sure that we had things done in the right way. We try to bring people from Wyoming to Washington to testify. Did that yesterday. Ty Checketts of Newcastle was there to testify about grazing. We had somebody from the county commissioners to talk about issues of the federal government overreaching in Wyoming. We have the issues of energy that continue as we're trying to expand Wyoming energy use, all focused on our economy. The thing that's interesting is we also want to get people from Washington to Wyoming. So we had the VA secretary here a couple of weeks ago. Lynn, you were there for the discussions, and Stefan, you were invited, couldn't make it that day. People from the House, people from all around the state. Well, we also had the head of the EPA here, the head of the Secretary of Labor, the Secretary of Energy, the Secretary of Interior, all here to see how we do it in Wyoming, and we do it the right way. This is all in our effort to get the country back on track. And I think the president has focused on energy, and he understands we're the Saudi Arabia of coal. And just Wednesday, we were with the president at the White House. Harriet and I were there as he signed another executive order protecting and promoting coal. And during this cold spell that they had in the East, you know, people turned to coal. That's who they got their energy from. The windmills weren't working. The solar panels weren't doing a thing. It was coal that kept thousands and thousands of people alive. And we're committed to all Wyoming's energy. And the president is committed to making us energy dominant, and we're very successful there. So we've had a year since last year when the legislature met, new year with the Republicans in charge of the House, the Senate, and the White House. The border is now closed at the southern border to illegal immigrants. I was there a couple of weeks ago with a number of senators. That is completely solved from that standpoint. We're now energy secure as a nation, and we were able to keep taxes low in what was passed is what the president continues to refer to as the one big beautiful bill. We refer to it as the Working Families Tax Cuts Act. But Jim Anderson and I were talking about this. We have coffee every Tuesday when I'm home, and he's there, a group of us, and Bill Landon is there. If you happen to be Tuesday at 8 o'clock in Casper, stop by the Blue Ridge Coffee House. You can learn a lot from these guys. And so Cynthia, and we were talking about all the things that are in this bill for Wyoming. So Cynthia Lummis, who is the chair of the Western Caucus, came out with 2 pages on Western benefits of the One Big Beautiful Bill. Tax relief for family operations. The death tax was permanently changed, raising it to $30 million for a couple. So if you're a farmer, rancher, small business owner, this allows you to keep your business in the family. Agriculture support, all of the things for livestock. Energy and natural resources, mandating that they have the lease sales and of areas that people would actually want to explore for energy. All of these things are benefiting specifically us here in the West in land management and conservation, and we do it better than anybody else. The thing that I'm really happy about that went into that bill has been this issue that you may have heard about, the Rural Healthcare Transformation Fund. And it's $50 billion. And you say, well, that's a lot of money. And some people wanted that money to go into Medicaid. For states that didn't expand Medicaid and that are rural and really have rural needs, this was the way to do it. And you have John Thune as the leader of the Senate, South Dakota, me from Wyoming, and Mike Crapo from Idaho, who's chairman of the Finance Committee. So we have a lot to say with what goes into this legislation. So you get this $50 billion of for rural health care. And you say, well, if you just divide it out per capita, how much are we going to get in Wyoming or South Dakota or Idaho? Not that much. So we said, okay, split it in half. $25 billion gets equally divided among the states, which means Wyoming gets $500 million over 5 years. And then the other $25 billion, people can apply, and Wyoming people can apply for grants for that as well. And I know Charlie's very actively interested in all of that, as are local hospitals. And talking today with the municipalities and with the county commissioners, they're all very, very focused on that. But that's why it's important to have our communities and rural America represented so forcefully in the United States Senate. And it's great to have partners like Harriet, and who is running for the Senate, and who Cynthia and I have endorsed, and have Cynthia right now working with me. So those are the things that are going on in Washington. I don't want to go through the whole laundry list of this. If you get to Washington, I'd love to show you around. The joy of being the whip is not just the county commissioner's whip that I have, and the fact that I've been able to decorate the whip's office with posters from different rodeos and all sorts of things. It's, I know we have the FFA kids up there. It's to be able to get them to be interns and have an opportunity to be in the office, and they're the best, always looking to hire FFA kids. They're really you get to know some of these people, and you know that our future are going to be in capable hands. But one of the joys for me of being in this position is that in the mornings when we open the Senate, like you do here, after the prayer and the pledge, the majority leader gets the microphone first, and that's John Thune, and then the minority leader gets the microphone, and that, of course, is Chuck Schumer. And then the majority whip gets to go after Chuck Schumer. And that means I get to go after Chuck Schumer. And yesterday, after he went on and on, it reminded me, and I started talking about a book that Mike Enzi used to talk about when he was here in the Senate. And it's called The Hidden America, From Coal Miners to Cowboys, the Forgotten Americans Who Make Our Country Work, the people who keep the lights on, the people who put food on the table. Those are the people that we are all blessed to represent. And we can just never forget that here in the state Senate, the county levels, at the city levels, at the state house, or our delegation to the United States Senate. And I consider us blessed to be able to do it. So God bless you, and God bless Wyoming. God bless these United States. Thanks for allowing me to come back and spend some time with you today. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you again, Senator Barrasso, and thanks for coming to the Senate. Safe travels back to Washington. Okay. So our other doctors of the day, actually, Senator Barlow, do you have a pledge or a privilege of the floor, perhaps?
Thank you, Mr. President. Actually, I have two, if I could just take care of them both right now. Mr.
Yes, sir. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Mr. President, I'd like the body to recognize, first of all, First Lady Jenny Gordon, who's accompanying the Wyoming Youth Advisory Council. This council is made up of current and former foster youth from across Wyoming who work with state agencies, policymakers, and community partners to ensure foster youth voices are heard in the decisions that affect their lives. The council provides policy recommendations and advocates for improvements in education, mental health access, and overall support within Wyoming's foster care system. I thank them for being here today, and would you please welcome the Wyoming Youth Advisory Council and First Lady Jenny Gordon to the Senate. Thank you. Mr. President, I have a second one, and I'm going to read this off my flip phone for all those that don't know what this is. Mr. President, I'd like to recognize, the Senate to recognize young people from 3 important youth-serving programs in Cheyenne. The first is the After School for Kids program at Afflerbach Elementary, the Boys and Girls Club, and the Girls on the Run Club. These are foundational programs for our future and for these young folks. Please welcome them. They're standing up here on this side. Some of them are still here. Some of them had to go back to school. So this is actually Girls on the Run, Miss Madsen, from our infamous Wendy Madsen. So welcome her. Thank you. And another young lady up there who didn't stand up. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Barlow. And welcome to all to the Senate chambers on this Friday the 13th. Yes, Senator Patton. Let me find you. There you are.
Thank you, Mr. President. May I have privilege of the floor?
Yes, sir. The floor is yours.
I also would like to introduce to you today some very bright students from a high school in my district. In fact, the high school that I graduated from East High. We have students from the Frontier FFA chapter, along with their teacher, Joe Allen. Please welcome them to the Senate.
Welcome to the Senate. Any more privileges? Senator Nethercott.
Thank you, Mr. President. Privilege of the floor.
Floor is yours.
Good, Senators, if you could join me this morning in welcoming the Wyoming Nonprofit Network members that are here visiting the legislature today. If they could please stand with us in the gallery, wherever they may be. Good, Senators, the Wyoming Nonprofit Network helps organize all of the hardworking nonprofits in our communities, comprised of over 400 members at least and counting, as the work of the common good for the state of Wyoming continues through these community leaders and people who are really serving those constituents in our communities. A big round of applause for the members of the Wyoming Nonprofit Network.
Welcome to the Senate. Good to have you all here. Okay. See no more. Oh, we got another one. Senator Love.
Mr. President, thank you. Privilege of the floor.
Floor is yours, Senator.
So I want to introduce my daughter, Olivia. She came to the Senate with me today. Appreciate her being here. I'm a very proud father there. So
All right.
thank you very much.
Welcome, Olivia. So as I mentioned, we have our doctors of the day are back. We have Dr. Kirk and Dr. Hageman, both from Star Valley. Thank you very much for being here. Hopefully we won't need your services. And we have a nurse of the day, Patty Olexi from Rock Springs. Is she around? Here she comes. Welcome, Patty, to the Senate. Patty, come on up. I have a certificate of appreciation I would like to give you. So we are thoroughly covered today. Senator Guru? All right, always looking out for you, my friend. Today in history, on this date in 1958, I heard a groan back there, a man named Dan Dockstetter was born in Idaho Falls, Idaho. So Senate choir, you know what to do. Birthday to you. Happy birthday. What do you have to say for yourself,
Mr.
Senator?
President, thank you.
Thank you.
Great respect and love for this body and our agreements and our disagreements. I still love and respect you, and great respect for your families who share you with all of Wyoming. Thank you.
Chief Clerk just told me that it's been 20 years since you've been home on your birthday. That's a dedicated servant right there, and hats off to you, my friend. Thank you. Senate choir, you're sounding a little better, but we got some work to do. That was our second performance of the year, so we'll be going on tour after long. Quote for the day, "It always seems impossible until it's done." That was Nelson Mandela, and he was talking about recalibration. And that wasn't the dad joke of the day. Here's the dad joke of the day. I named my printer Bob Marley because it kept on jamming. All right, we already took care of Senator Barrasso. Today is the last day for our very own student page, Marlo. I know. Marlo Ellis, senior at Central High here in Cheyenne. Marlis, I'll give you the floor, but you can't leave. So Marlis, if you'd like to say some words. Marlo.
Yes, I would, Mr. President. Good morning. This past year, I had the privilege of attending Wyoming Girls State. For those of you that don't know, Wyoming Girls State is a week-long immersive experience for girls going into their senior year to learn more about government processes. It is mandatory that every senator draft a bill. At the time, I had just finished watching Breaking Bad and all the spin-offs, which follows the life of a criminal known as Walter White. I was inspired by the legalities of it all, so I brought a bill to Girls State. Senate File 10, Anti-Money Laundering. Quick shout out to Senator Nethercott. I heavily repurposed her bill. I'm sure you were upset when your bill died in the House last year because guess what? So did mine. You know how it gets over there. After we adjourned, I called my mom. I told her how upset I was that my bill died and that I couldn't fathom how it must feel when it happens in real life. While at Girls State, I met so many young women with the same interest as myself in government, some of which I still talk to today. My roommate, Kristen Boyson, is an intern currently for LSO. My other roommate, Callie Christensen, who's also awesome, which you will find out because she'll be one of your pages in the following weeks. At the end of the week, 2 girls are selected to attend ALA Girls Nation in Washington, D.C. later in the summer. Abby Odell, one of the most brilliant people I've ever known, which you will also find out because she'll be one of your Senate pages, and myself were selected to attend Girls Nation. At Girls Nation, we talked with fellow senators from around the country. One shocking fact that I soon learned was how awesome Wyoming was. I cannot exaggerate to the extent that these girls gasped when I told them I not only have individually met with many of my state senators, but that my delegation sat in the seats you sit in today to debate our legislation during Girls State. On behalf of my Girls State delegation of 2025, thank you. I thought I had an accurate representation of the hard work it takes to sit on this floor, but this week I have learned so much more. Excuse me if I'm incorrect, but every single one of you sitting in these seats has brought an idea, amendment, or bill that has died. That takes guts. The fact that all of you sitting here today have failed in passing something that you care about, but have and will continue to work hard in making our state better takes true courage. So while it may sound strange that I'm talking about your defeats, your grit and pursuit is the true testament. As my mom says, life doesn't get any easier, you just get better at handling it. You all have qualities that cannot be given but learned. It's inspirational. It's been equally interesting and exhilarating to watch each of you educate us all on issues in your communities and what your plan is to make a change. I know there is a lingering question about the future of leadership in government, specifically in this state. This year, I've had the pleasure of meeting so many other students, such as myself, with a drive and passion to seek change. So I am here today to tell you, we are listening. As I presume many of you are active members in your communities, I urge you to continue educating your youth in your passions and what you seek to change, because I promise you, we're all watching and plan to mirror what you do. Thank you for giving up weeks of your life, some of you years, to make our state better. It takes poise, grace, and passion. It deserves the highest level of respect and gratitude from not just myself, but the citizens of Wyoming. I would like to give a quick shout out to my teachers at Central who have helped shape me into who I am today, and I would marvel at having a fraction of the empathy and enthusiasm they present in their work. Specifically this week, I would like to thank the Sergeant at Arms, Lance and Dick, for always greeting me at the door with a compliment, maybe a joke, maybe both. I'd like to thank Ron and Marilyn for making some of the best omelets I've ever had and preparing the meals we all eat. Thank you, Miss Lori, for always offering to help me and sneaking me a piece of chocolate here and there. Thank you to Miss Sue for giving me a whole bunch of courage and cheering me on as reader. Thank you, Tom, for being an awesome reader and letting me take your job for a few days. Thank you to Miss Kara for always answering my questions discreetly with nothing but a smile on your face. Thank you to Miss Marty for showing me the ropes and telling me where you get your fabulous boots. A special gratitude to President Beitman for his patience and remembering the details of my life I've maybe mentioned only once. Finally, thank you to Miss Ellen, a woman who changed and impacted my life back in June and continues to shape the person I want to be when I grow up. Thoughtful, kind, and wildly knowledgeable. I will rave about this week to anyone and everyone for years to come. Everyone in this room has changed the trajectory of my life. I hope you found this speech motivational to carry you forth this budget session, but regardless, keep being awesome. Thank you.
That's all right. They love you, Marlo. They love you. I love you. On behalf of the Senate, I'll present this certificate to you. Please come back. And now, what you've done for us is we can all look back in 10, 20 years from now and say, we knew Marlo. Because you are going places, girl. And we're so proud of you. And please come back again soon.
Okay,
And
thank you.
you have one proud mama up there.
She's crying.
Senator Ellis, she's crying. You almost got me going. I didn't want to make eye contact, but thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I've known you since you were a little kid. Oh, Marlo. The future's bright. That's all I gotta say. Last day for bill introductions. The Budget Bill Committee of the Whole continues today. Our requests for second reading amendments are due prior to the conclusion of Committee of the Whole today. Your approval of those amendments are due by Monday, February 16th at 10 a.m. for second reading on Tuesday. Safe travels if you are going home. So that takes care of all that. Now we are on reports from standing committee amendments, unless Senator Rothfuss has something he wants to talk about. Senator Rothfuss.
Mr. President, may I have the privilege of the floor?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I do have something to talk about. I would like to make an introduction. Above you in the balcony, we have some friends from all over the state, from Casper Pride, Laramie P. Flag, and other Wyoming Equality Network individuals that have joined us today. They're going to be spending some time talking to us and fellow legislators about equality in the state of Wyoming, the Wyoming Equality State. I'd like to welcome them.
Welcome to the Senate. Forgot to announce that the form to submit interim topics went live already this morning on the legislature's website. There's a memo in each of your mailboxes outlining the process. Suggested topics may originate from any source, but the topic must be submitted and presented to the joint committees by a legislator. The deadline for submission is Friday, February 27th at noon. So that'll be here before you know it. So get those interim topics going. Okay, reports from standing committees.
Mr. President, dated February 12, 2026, your committee number 1, Judiciary, to whom was referred Senate File 45, local approval for simulcasting, respectfully reports back to the Senate with the recommendation that it do pass as amended. Voting aye, Senators Crago, Crum, Hicks, Kolb, and Olson. Signed, Chairman Olson. Mr. President, dated February 12, 2026, your committee number 1, Judiciary, to whom was referred Senate File 58, Wyoming Indian Child Welfare Act Sunset Repeal, respectfully reports back to the Senate with the recommendation that it do pass. Voting aye, Senators Crago, Kolb, and Olson. Excused, Senator Crum and Hicks. Signed, Chairman Olson. Mr. President, dated February 12, 2026, your committee number 1, Judiciary, to whom was referred Senate File 67, Wyoming State Guard Amendments, respectfully reports same back to the Senate with the recommendation that it do pass as amended. Voting aye, Senators Crago, Crum, Hicks, Olson. Voting no, Senator Kolb. Signed, Chairman Olson. Mr. President, dated February 12, 2026, your committee number 2, Appropriations, to whom was referred Senate File 4, Medicaid Rate Increase EMS Services, respectfully reports same back to the Senate with the recommendation that it do pass. Voting aye, Senators Driscoll, French, Larson, Salazar. Excused, Senator Garou. Signed, Chairman Salazar. Mr. President, dated February 12, 2026, your committee number 2, Appropriations, to whom was referred Senate File 14, Literacy Position for K-3 Reading Program, respectfully reports same back to the Senate with the recommendation that it do pass. Voting aye, Senators Driscoll, French, Larson, Salazar. Excused, Senator Garou. Signed, Senator Salazar, Chairman. Mr. President, dated February 12, 2026, your committee number 2, Appropriations, to whom was referred Senate File 32, 911 funding, respectfully reports same back to the Senate with the recommendation that it do pass. Voting aye, Senators Driscoll, French, Larson, Salazar. Excused, Senator Garou. Signed, Senator Salazar, Chairman. Mr. President, your dated February 13th, 2026, your committee number 7, Corporations, Elections, and Political Subdivisions, to whom was referred Senate File 82, Duties of Registered Agents Amendments, respectfully reports back to the Senate with the recommendation that it do pass. Voting aye, Senators Boner, Case, Dockstader, Landon, and Steinmetz. Signed, Senator Case, Chairman.
Thank you. Before we go into bill introductions, I would like to read a statement on behalf of the leadership team, and I think most all of you, if not all of you, have signed on to this letter in regards to some recent events here at the Capitol. The Wyoming Senate unequivocally condemns the practice of distributing campaign contributions to legislators during the legislative session while measures affecting the donor's clients or interests are actively under consideration. The integrity of the legislative process depends upon public confidence that policy decisions are made on the merits, based on law, evidence, and the best interests of the people of Wyoming, not influenced by the timing of political contributions. The distribution of campaign checks in proximity to committee hearings, floor debate, or pending votes creates, at a minimum, the appearance of impropriety and risks undermining trust in this institution. While lawful political participation is a protected and important component of our democratic system, the Senate expects all participants in the legislative process, including lobbyists and principals, to exercise sound judgment and adhere to the highest ethical standards. It is the duty of each member of the Wyoming Senate to uphold and enforce these standards in their own conduct and to ensure that the integrity of this body is not compromised by actions that blur the lines between advocacy and undue influence. The Wyoming Senate remains committed to transparency, ethical conduct, and the preservation of public trust in the legislative process. Thank you. Okay, bills on introduction. Oh, Senator Nethercott.
Mr. President, thank you. For clarification to those who would be trying to count individuals standing here today, and for clarity to the public, all 31 senators signed that statement condemning the actions of receiving campaign donations during session and in this Capitol. So I just want that to be made very clear for the upper chamber that all 31 senators did sign the statement. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam Majority Floor Leader. Okay, let's get to work. Senate File 117, first reading of the bill.
Senate File 117, zoning protest petition amendments, sponsor Senator Pappas.
Senator Pappas.
Thank you, Mr. President. I bring to you Senate File 117 and ask for your favorable vote on introduction. I move it for introduction. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, this is an old friend from last year. If you recall this particular legislation, it passed our body, well, not unanimous. There were 2 excuses, but everyone else, there were 27 aye votes on this particular legislation. I'm bringing it back exactly as we passed it out of here with all the amendments. So I'm bringing back the engrossed version. So let me explain it to you so you might remember it and why. So it's actually been requested again by an organization, an alliance of businesses in the state that we all know, and its members are seeking to find solutions to our workforce housing problem. So housing is limited for our workforce in Wyoming. 90% of the Wyoming community surveyed by an association that represents our municipalities reported that they have a housing shortage. Total inventory in the Wyoming market in 2024 was 39% below the 2018 levels. Behind these shortages is a serious overregulated housing market. A 2017 study found that Wyoming is at the top third of the most overregulated states on zoning and land use. And a 2023 study found that numerous Wyoming towns are at the top 20% of U.S. towns with the most severe regulatory restrictions on housing. Decreasing regulation then is key to increasing the housing supply. We currently have an inelastic housing marketplace. Regulation and lack of capital, water, sewer, and many other things like roads also impact housing supply and costs. But the most restrictive anti-free market regulation in Wyoming is the protest petition, and that's what this bill addressed. This law means that if a rezoning is proposed to create a new property development, a small number of neighbors can block the project. Currently, only 20% of the neighbors within 140 feet of the site are required to file a protest, in which case they can only be overridden by a 3/4 supermajority vote from a town and council. And we lessened those requirements in last year's bill, and that's what we're trying to do again. So this bill proposes to restore private property rights to landowners by making protest petitions more difficult to file and easier to overrule. I request your vote on introduction. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Chief Clerk will call the roll.
Introductory vote, Senate File 117, Anderson. Aye. Barlow. Aye. Boner. Aye. Brennan. Aye. Case. Aye. Cooper. Aye. Crago. Aye. Crum. Aye. Dockstader. Aye. Driscoll. Aye. French. Aye. Guru. Aye. Hicks. Aye. Hutchings. No. Aye. Aye. Jones. Aye. Cole. Aye. Landon. Aye. Larson. Aye. Love. Aye. McEwen. Aye. Nethercott. Aye. Olson. Aye. Pappas. Aye. Pearson. No. Rothfuss. Aye. Salazar. Aye. Schuler. Aye. Scott. Aye. Steinmetz. No. President Beitman. Aye. Closing vote. Closing. Vote closed. Senate File 117, 28 aye, 3 no.
Senate File 117, having received a 2/3 majority vote, is referred to Committee Number 7, Corporations. Senate File 118, first reading of the Senate file.
Senate File 118, eminent domain water projects, sponsored by Senator Ide.
I think Senator Hicks is going to present the bill. Senator Hicks.
Mr. President, I would move for introduction, Senate File 118, eminent domain water projects. Just a real quick background and why we're here today before you is, you know, eminent domain was contemplated in the Constitution under the Fifth Amendment. We refer to that as the taking clause, but it is the most powerful tool the government can wield, because what eminent domain ultimately is for government to come in and condemn and take your private property. It's supposed to be just compensation and other things. And historically, under our Constitution, that was reserved to the federal government. But through a number of court cases, it was ruled that that eminent domain also applied to state and local government. In our own Constitution, under Article 1, Section 32, we've carved out the purpose of eminent domain for water projects. For ditches, canals, laterals, these type of things, that so state and local governments can utilize that power to condemn that private property for those public purposes. We've also extended eminent domain to other areas across the state, but we have a constitutional provision. But there's a fundamental responsibility that we have in the legislature, not only to protect those constitutional rights, but because we are the appropriators, to make sure that the money that we appropriate fully meets the intent of this legislature. So the only thing this bill does say is, if you, as a local government entity, are going to utilize state funds and resources and exercise your right of eminent domain using state money through a number of grant programs, we often fund these at 50 to sometimes 95% with state money. And if you're utilizing state money, that you have to get the permission of the legislature to use that state money to implement projects if you exercise the right of eminent domain. It is a check and balance. If it's our money and the responsibility of eminent domain, then we at least ought to look after that. Members of the Senate, I look forward to as we continue to move this legislation with this debate. But it is a very fundamental fiduciary responsibility of the purse and the Constitution that we're trying to provide that balancing act for, and would ask for your favorable consideration.
Thank you. Chief Clerk will call the roll.
Senate File 118, introduction. Anderson? No. Barlow? No. Boner? Aye. Brennan? Aye. Case? No. Cooper? No. Crago? Aye. Crum? I. Dockstetter. I. Driscoll. I. French. I. Guru. No. Hicks. I. Hutchings. I. Ide. I. Jones. I. Cole. I. Landon. I. Larson. No. Love. I. McEwen. I. Nethercott. No. Olson. I. Pappas. I. Pearson. I. Rothfuss. No. Salazar. I. Schuler. I. Scott. No. Steinmetz. I. President Beitman.
Aye.
Aye. Closing vote. Closing. Vote closed. Senate File 118, aye, 9 no.
Senate File 118, having received a 2/3 majority vote, is referred to Committee Number 1, Judiciary. Senate File 119, first reading of the bill.
Senate File 119, Strategic Investments and Projects Account Repeal 2, sponsored by Senator Hicks.
Senator Hicks.
Mr. Chairman, members of the Senate, you'll recognize this, and particularly those in the Senate, because I think we've had this particular bill in front of us for last 4, maybe 5 sessions in some version. This is a bill that was passed by your Capital Finance Committee. Unfortunately, like similar other bills dealing with recalibration, it didn't get the 2/3 majority vote with our colleagues, so I'm bringing this back. It was a cap finance bill, but where you'll recognize is that this bill passed out of here on a 29 to vote last year. Mr. President, it is solely for the purpose of taking our budgetary process and eliminating one of these, what we would call Rube Goldberg convoluted processes as to how we funnel money through the budget. And it provides the very purpose of simplification and transparency. So you don't have to sit on the Appropriations Committee for a half a decade and the Capital Finance Committee to understand where the money comes from and then how it flows through the budget. So members of the body, if we get this introduced, we'll have a much broader explanation, but this is something that we've taken a policy position on in this body and consistently supported this legislation. It is a product of your Capital Finance Committee, and I would encourage you to vote aye for introduction.
Thank you. You did move it, correct? I thought I heard you move it. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, it's always a good idea in this body to have belt and suspenders. So, Mr. President, I would move for introduction, Senate File 119, Strategic Investment and Projects Account Repeal 2.
Well done, Senator Hicks. Chief Clerk will call the roll.
Senate File 119, Introduction. Anderson? No. Barlow? Aye. Boner? Aye. Brennan? Aye. Case? Aye. Cooper? No. Crago? Aye. Crum? Aye. Dockstetter? Aye. Driscoll? Aye. French? Aye. Guru? Aye. Hicks? Aye. Hutchings? Aye. Ide? Aye. Jones? Aye. Cole? Aye. Landon? No. Larson? Aye. Love? Aye. McEwen? Aye. Nethercott? Aye. Olson? Aye. Pappas? Aye. Pearson? Aye. Rothfuss? No. Salazar? Aye. Schuler? Aye. Scott? Aye. Steinmetz? Aye. President Beitman.
Aye.
Aye. Closing vote. Closing. Vote closed. Senate File 119, 27 aye, 4 no.
Senate File 119, having received a 2/3 majority vote, is referred to Committee Number 2, Appropriations. Senator Nethercott.
Thank you, Mr. President. Privilege of the floor.
Floor is yours.
Mr. President, good senators, it's my honor today to recognize and welcome Reed Roller Barrett. If he could stand, he's in the front of you in the gallery. Reed is an F-16 fighter pilot, professional speaker, father, and proud Wyoming native, dedicated to serving both his country and the state that shaped his family for generations. He's a UW graduate where he served as president of Sigma Phi Epsilon fraternity, building an early foundation in leadership, service, and community. For those of you who do not know, Reed comes from a family deeply rooted in Wyoming public service. His father, the late Joe Barrett, ran for Wyoming House District 8. And his great-grandfather, Frank A. Barrett, served the people of Wyoming as governor, United States senator, and United States congressman. Continuing the legacy of service, Reed spent 4 years stationed in Washington, D.C., defending our nation's capital, where he responded in his F-16 to more than 100 real-world events involving credible threats to the national capital region. Earlier in his career, he served communities as an EMT, reinforcing a lifelong commitment to protecting others. Today, Reed speaks across the country on leadership, trust, and decision-making under pressure. As the creator of the Roller Communication Framework, he remains deeply committed to strengthening opportunities, supporting families, and helping ensure Wyoming remains strong and competitive for future generations. Unfortunately, he now resides in Denver with his wife Marissa and daughter Blake, where he serves as a fighter pilot with the 120th Fighter Squadron, the Red Eyes, out of Buckley Space Force. Space Force. And if you've ever seen an F-16 overhead, it might just be Reed flying to say hello to his mother, Kathy Barrett, and to the state that will always be home. Mr. President, please join me in welcoming Roller Barrett.
Welcome to the Senate. All right, Senate File 120, first reading of the bill.
Senate File 120, K through 12 School Facilities Major Maintenance, sponsored by Senator Dockstader.
Senator Dockstader. Oh, I see your wingman over there. Let's switch over to Goose. Senator Landon.
So, Mr. President, thank you very much. I just barely caught that football when it was thrown here by my desk mate. I appreciate the opportunity to stand on this one. I would move Senate File 120 for introduction. K-12 School Facilities Major Maintenance. Mr. President, I won't spend long on this one. This is a mirror bill that we sometimes like to give ourselves some assurances. There is a bill of its like value down the hall, but this one is one of the more important ones. This is the major maintenance piece for all of the school districts out across. It's a sizable amount every year and very, very important to the districts. So I would just ask that we get the bill introduced. You may not see it again, but it will be in the coffers if we need it. So hope you'll vote to introduce. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Chief Clerk will call the roll.
Senate File 120, introduction. Anderson. Aye. Barlow. Aye. Boner. Aye. Brennan. Aye. Case. Aye. Cooper. Aye. Craigo. Aye. Crum. Aye. Dockstader. Aye. Driscoll. Aye. French. No. Guru. Aye. Hicks. No. Hutchings. Aye. Ide. No. Jones. Aye. Cole. No. Landon. Aye. Larson. Aye. Love. Aye. McEwen. No. Nethercott. Aye. Olson. Aye. Pappas. Aye. Pearson. Aye. Rothfuss. Aye. Salazar. No. Schuler. Aye. Scott. Aye. Steinmetz. Aye. President Beitman.
Aye.
Aye. Larson. Aye to no. Closing vote. Closing.
Hicks, no, aye.
Hicks, no to aye. Vote closed. Senate File 120, 25 aye, 6 no.
Senate File 120, having received a 2/3 majority vote, is referred to Committee Number 2, Appropriations. Senate File 121, first reading of the bill.
Senate File 121, Wyoming Pharmacy Act Amendment, sponsored by Senator Dockstader.
We going to Maverick or we going to Goose here? Looks like we got Maverick.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Dockstader.
I thought it appropriate that the chairman of that specific committee introduce that bill. You'll be hearing enough for me over the next two. Mr. Chairman, I move Senate File 121 and ask for your favorable approval. Last summer, folks, a group of us invited out to visit with our pharmacists at their summer convention, and they're going over some proposals to perhaps improve health care at the pharmacy level across the state. And we came up with a proposal that falls under Senate File 121, Wyoming Pharmacy Act Amendments. What this does, members of the Senate, improves access to health care, especially in the rural parts of Wyoming. Many communities face provider shortages and long travel distances, allowing pharmacists to prescribe certain medications and devices such as glucose monitors and antibiotics from a positive strep or UTI test. Helps fill in healthcare gaps and expand timely access in the rural areas, especially in Wyoming. It also supports state healthcare expansion goals. The legislation empowers the Board of Pharmacy to create clear, responsible rules to expand pharmacy services throughout Wyoming. It also allows for more immunization coverage for those who want it. Under current law, pharmacists can have to turn away children younger than 7 when families come in for their vaccinations. And this often results in missed immunizations when parents forget to schedule another appointment elsewhere. This allows the pharmacist to serve vaccinations to families who ask for those vaccinations. It also enhances chronic disease management, preventive care through access to health care at the pharmacy level under prescribed essentially putting sideboards on it. This is what we can do and can't do in the pharmacy. It expands prescribing authority for specific medications and devices. It improves diabetes management, preventative health care, early treatment, and reduces complications and overall healthcare costs. Protects pharmacy professionals with their own judgment. The bill ensures that employers cannot require pharmacists to enter into these practice agreements if they do not feel comfortable or have the sufficient knowledge to take care of these areas. And I've hooked up the pharmacy folks with the medical folks so that everybody's talking and understanding what we're doing here. We're not causing problems, we're just simply opening up opportunities and improving healthcare, especially in the rural parts of Wyoming. Ask for your support.
Thank you, Senator. Chief Clerk will call the roll.
Senate File 121, Introduction. Anderson? Aye. Barlow? Aye. Boner? Aye. Brennan? Aye. Case? Aye. Cooper? Aye. Crago? Aye. Crum? Aye. Dockstader? Aye. Driscoll? Aye. French? Aye. Guru? Aye. Hicks? Aye. Hutchings? Aye. Ide? No. Jones? Aye. Cole? Aye. Landon? Aye. Larson? Aye. Love? Aye. McEwen? Aye. Nethercott? Aye. Olson? Aye. Pappas? Aye. Pearson? No. Rothfuss? Aye. Salazar? Aye. Schuler? Aye. Scott? Aye. Steinmetz? Aye. President Beitman?
Aye.
Aye. Closing vote. Closing Vote closed. Senate File 121, 29 aye, 2 no.
Senate File 121, having received a two-thirds majority vote, is referred to Committee Number 10, Labor. Senate File 122, first reading of the bill.
Senate File 122, Medical Necessity Standard Timeline Amendments, sponsored by Senator Dockstader.
Senator Dockstader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move Senate File 122, Medical Necessity Standard Timeline Amendments, and ask for your favorable approval. Kind of working on healthcare matters this year, Senators, so let me explain what brought this to be. Working especially with the rural healthcare hospitals, they are seeing some concerns in our friends in the insurance industry coming together and making sure that their reimbursements are taken care of in a timely manner. So this amends the number of days that a health insurer has to determine that coverage. First of all, in relation to the amendment on the number of days, it takes the 45-day limit now in Wyoming down to 21 days for insurance reimbursements. The insurance companies often tend to drag out this process, and often we've heard even not adhering to our 45-day rule. I came across the phrase as I was studying this in the healthcare world and the insurance world. It's called delay, deny, downcode, and it all falls under what's called payer wars. What this does is cause problems with cash flows, especially in our rural hospitals in Wyoming. Cash flow is the lifeblood of a rural hospital. The longer it takes to collect from the insurers, the more difficult it is to run our hospitals. Insurance companies need to be more responsible and timely in paying their claims, not drag it out. For what appears to be just savings of $1 in interest, it's hurting our small hospitals with their cash flow problems. We have our hospitals on the verge of collapse in many places across Wyoming. This allows our smaller operations and, quite frankly, all of our healthcare services to have a better cash flow system and better serve the patient and not make them wait. I ask for your help and your approval of this bill.
Thank you, Senator. Chief Clerk, will please call the roll.
Senate File 122, introduction vote. Anderson? Aye. Aye. Barlow? Aye. Aye. Boner? Aye. Aye. Brennan? Aye. Aye. Case? No. No. Cooper? Aye. Aye. Crago? Aye. Crum? Aye. Aye. Dockstader? Aye. Driscoll? Aye. Aye. French? Aye. Aye. Garou? Hicks? Aye. Aye. Hutchings? Aye. Ide? Aye. Aye. Jones? Aye. Kolb? Aye. Landon? Aye. Larson? Aye. Love? Aye. McEwen? Aye. Nethercott? Aye. Olson? Aye. Pappas? Aye. Pearson? Aye. Rothfuss? Aye. Salazar? Aye. Schuler? Aye. Scott? Aye. Steinmetz? Aye. Garou? Aye. President Beitman?
Aye.
Aye. Closing vote. Closing. Vote closed. Senate File 122, 30 aye, 1 no.
Senate File 122, having received a two-thirds majority vote, is referred to Committee Number 10, Labor. Madam Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. President, I request that the Committee of the Whole stand at ease to the sound of the gavel.
Okay. We're not in Committee of the Whole, but I think that the Senate will stand at ease until the sound of the gavel. Senate will come back to order. Still an introduction and reading and reference of bills. Senate File 81, first reading of the bill.
Senate File 81, K through 12 Public School Finance 2, sponsored by Recalibration.
Thank you. Senator Salazar.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move introduction of Senate File 81 and ask for your favorable consideration. Honorable members, you are well aware of this bill. You know what's in it. I'm not going to explain it. Quite frankly, this was a bill on the other side. I thought we had an agreement. We had a unanimous vote coming out of the Recalibration Committee, and quite frankly, I'm surprised about this. Nevertheless, we as the Senate can correct whatever happened down there, keep recalibration alive. As you know, recalibration is a bill that, as I said before, was voted unanimously on a bipartisan basis, and it adheres to what I believe are the wishes of the court on funding of K through 12 education, and we have the ability today to serve the people of Wyoming and the students of Wyoming by introducing this bill, bringing it alive, and carrying out the wishes of the people with regard to education in this state. So I ask for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Assistant Clerk will call the roll.
Senate File 81, introduction vote. Anderson? Aye. Aye. Barlow? Aye. Boner? Aye. Brennan? Aye. Aye. Case? Aye. Aye. Cooper? Aye. Crago? Aye. Crum? Aye. Dockstetter? Aye. Driscoll? Aye. French? Aye. Garou? Aye. Hicks? Aye. Hutchings? Aye. Ide? Aye. Jones? Aye. Kolb? Aye. Landon? Aye. Larson? Aye. Love? Aye. McEwen? Aye. Nethercott? Aye. Olson? Aye. Pappas? Aye. Pearson? Aye. Rothfuss? Aye. Salazar? Aye. Schuler? Aye. Scott? Aye. Steinmetz? Aye. President Beitman?
Aye.
Aye. Closing vote. Closing. Vote closed. Senate File 81, 31 aye.
Senate File 81, having received a 2/3 majority vote, is referred to Committee Number 4, Education. Senate File 124, first reading of the bill.
Senate File 124, Economic Development Rodeo Museum, sponsored by Senator Driscoll.
Senator Driscoll.
Thank you, Mr. President. Fellow senators, I bring Senate File 124 and ask for your favorable vote on introduction, Economic Development Rodeo Museum. Folks, I'll be pretty short on it. This is the move from Colorado by the PRCA to move into this end of Wyoming. It is, and I'm going to do it a little bit different. This is a classic economic development case. They went out and recruited a rodeo to come here. It's going to bring a museum and Hall of Fame to come here. We did an economic impact on it. We're looking at $252 million impact, 368 construction jobs, 140 full-time jobs, overtime 98 of them with the museum. This is classic economic development. The state makes an investment in out of our tourism account that's set up for that reason, brings them here, and it's kind of fun for Laramie County down here. It's going to be $309,000 a year increased tax revenue just off the land alone. Doesn't count all the other revenue. Wyoming is the cowboy state. I appreciate every one of you that co-sponsored. I think we're only short 3 co-sponsors, the entire Senate. I'd ask for your favorable consideration.
Thank you. Assistant Clerk will call the roll.
Senate File 124, introduction vote. Anderson? Aye. Barlow? I, Boner. I, Brennan. I, Case.
No!
No. Cooper. I, Crago. I, Crum. I, Dockstader. I, Driscoll. I, French. No. Garou. I, Hicks. I, Hutchings. I, Ide. No. Jones. I, Kolb. I, Landon. I, Larson. I, Love. I, McEwen. I, Nethercott. I, Olson. I, Pappas. I, Pearson. No. Rothfuss. I, Salazar. I, Schuler. I, Scott. I, Steinmetz. No. President Beitman.
Aye.
Aye. Closing vote. Closing. Vote closed. Senate File 124, 26 aye, 5 no.
Senate File 124, having received a 2/3 majority vote, is referred to Committee Number 2, Appropriations. Senate File 125.
Senate File 125, Wyoming Business Council Amendment, sponsored by Senator Crum.
Senator Crum.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd move the introduction of Senate File 125, Wyoming Business Council amendments, and ask for your favorable consideration. We've discussed this issue a couple times before during this session on the Wyoming Business Council. This bill goes a little bit farther by providing an appropriation and the ability of the Business Council to continue to operate until April 15th, 2027. This bill should be better known as Wyoming is open for business bill. This is really saying that Wyoming is open for business, and what it will allow is, in the interim here, to establish a task force to study exactly what the people of Wyoming, what this body wants out of a business and economic development arm of the council. But during that period, we continue to operate a business council in a business-friendly environment to allow for business to continue to expand, to provide jobs for our kids, and a good economic climate for the rest of our citizens. So I'd ask for your favorable consideration on Senate File 125.
Thank you. Assistant Clerk will call the roll.
Senate File 125, introduction vote. Anderson. Aye. Barlow. Aye. Boner. Aye. Brennan. Aye. Case. Aye. Cooper. Aye. Crago. Aye. Crum. Aye. Dockstader. Aye. Driscoll. Aye. French. No. Garou. Aye. Hicks. Aye. Hutchings. No. Ide. No. Jones. Aye. Kolb. Aye. Landon. Aye. Larson. No. Love. Aye. McEwen. No. Nethercott. Aye. Olson. Aye. Pappas. Aye. Pearson. Aye. Rothfuss. Aye. Salazar. No. Schuler. Aye. Scott. Aye. Steinmetz. Aye. President Beitman.
Aye.
Aye. Closing vote. Closing. Vote closed. Senate File 125, 25 ayes, 6 no.
Senate File 125, having received a 2/3 majority vote, is referred to Committee Number 9, Minerals. Senate File 126, first reading of the bill.
Senate File 126, Wyoming Ireland Trade Commission, sponsored by Senator Anderson.
Senator Anderson.
Mr. President, I move the introduction of Senate File 126, Wyoming Ireland Trade Commission, and ask for your support. I have a subject matter expert I'm going to call on to discuss this bill, Senator Driscoll.
Senator Driscoll.
Thank you, Mr. President. Wyoming-Ireland Trade Commission is an old friend of ours. This passed out of here with a very heavy majority last year and never got heard across the other side of the building. Folks, this is another economic development bill and a reach out for relations with Ireland. They've reached out to us. I believe they operate now in over 30 states in this same type fashion. It's merely a way to be able to exchange trade between each other, students, ideas, and the other end of it. It's been very effective. If you think about how it might look in some time after the start, is look back to the Taiwan Trade Office, which is about to become the Asia Trade Office. Wyoming is a rich environment for these folks to do trade with, both directions, and it treats us well. I ask for your favorable consideration. I won't spend a lot of time on it. It's just it's a good deal. It doesn't cost much money. It sets up a commission that allows us to get that done and opens the door a little wider to get some goods flowing back and forth. Thank you.
Thank you. The Assistant Clerk will call the roll.
Senate File 126, introduction vote. Anderson? Aye. Aye. Barlow? Aye. Aye. Boner? Aye. Brennan? Aye. Aye. Case? Aye. Aye. Cooper? Aye. Aye. Crago? Aye. Aye. Crum? Aye. Aye. Dockstetter? Aye. Driscoll? Aye. Aye. French? Aye. Aye. Garou? Aye. Aye. Hicks? Aye. Aye. Hutchings? Aye. Ide?
No.
No. Jones? Aye. Aye. Kolb?
No.
No. Landon? Aye. Larson? No. Love? Aye. McEwen?
No.
No. Nethercott? Aye. Olson? Aye. Pappas? Aye. Pearson? No. Rothfuss? Aye. Salazar? Aye. Schuler? Aye. Scott?
No.
No. Steinmetz? No. President Beitman?
Aye.
Aye. Hutchings, aye to no. Closing vote. Closing. Vote closed. Senate File 126, 23 ayes, 8 noes.
Senate File 126, having received a 2/3 majority vote, is referred to Committee Number 9, Minerals. Senate Joint Resolution 9, first reading of the joint resolution.
Senate Joint Resolution 9, Keeping Public Lands Protected and Decisions Local, sponsored by Senator Barlow.
Senator Barlow.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move Senate Joint Resolution Number 9, Keeping Public Lands Protected and Decisions Local, and I ask the body's favorable consideration. Colleagues, the past year we've heard a lot of interest in how the public lands in the western United States are handled. We've had lots of different proposals come forth. And as I've been traveling the state, I'm hearing all kinds of stories about the value of those public lands to Wyomingites, to the heritage, and to what they believe is the posterity, what they want what public lands means to them and what it should mean in the future. So this joint resolution is just requesting Congress to pay attention to us, to allow responsible development of our resources, coal, oil, gas, trona, uranium, etc. Recreation, whether you paddle or pole or whatever you do, agriculture, sheep, cattle, hunting, fishing, trapping, and conservation. And that we have local participation in when there are changes or options of change, and that the people of Wyoming are at the table. Ladies and gentlemen, it's pretty clear. I'm just going to go to the end of it. This is a resolution that the legislature says we oppose broad or indiscriminate exchanges or sales of public lands, that we want respect for the voices of local communities. Think of the Rock Springs RMP, the Buffalo RMP, and that if those responsible things come along, then we will be partners in understanding how they benefit public access, resource use, and our communities. And that, of course, we want adequate funding that protects and supports the agencies, both state and federal, that work on this behalf. So Wyoming has certain values, and I think a lot of that is encapsulated in public lands: freedom, stewardship, and community. I'd ask you to favorably consider this joint resolution on behalf of the citizens of Wyoming who care about our future and the future of public lands. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. The Assistant Clerk will call the roll.
Senate Joint Resolution Number 9, introduction vote. Anderson? Aye. Barlow? Aye. Boner? No. Brennan? Aye. Case? Aye. Cooper? Aye. Crago? Aye. Crum? Aye. Dockstader? Aye. Driscoll? Aye. French? No. Garou? Aye. Hicks? Aye. Hutchings? Aye. Ide? No. Jones? Aye. Kolb? Aye. Landon? Aye. Larson? No. Love? Aye. McEwen? No. Nethercott? Aye. Olson? Aye. Pappas? Aye. Pearson? Aye. Rothfuss? Aye. Salazar? Aye. Schuler? Aye. Scott? Aye. Steinmetz? No. President Beitman?
Aye.
Aye. Closing vote. Closing. Vote closed. Senate Joint Resolution Number 9, 25 ayes, 6 no.
Senate Joint Resolution 9, having received a 2/3 majority vote, is referred to Committee Number 1, Judiciary. Senator Olson, are you rising to protest my
Yes.
committee referral to your committee, sir?
I can no longer count the bills on even two hands, but the number of days we have left, I can count on one hand, so.
Well, you have some toes you can use too, sir.
But we'll figure it out, Mr. President. I would like to re-refer Senate File 67, Wyoming State Guard Amendments, to Committee Number 2, Appropriations.
Absent objection, so ordered. Bill number Senate File 67 has been re-referred to Committee Number 2, Appropriations. Okay. 11:35, and we're starting second reading. Okay, bills on second reading. Senate File 28, second reading of the Senate file.
Senate File 28, Elections, Voting Machine and Voting System Test, sponsored by corporations.
Looks like there's an amendment. Can we have the amendment read in?
Senate File 28, Standing Committee, second reading, Amendment Number 1, page 2, line 12.
Thank you. Senator Case.
Mr. President, I would move second reading amendment number 1 to Senate File 28 and ask for your favorable consideration. I mentioned this yesterday when this bill was on the first reading and in committee of the whole, that on page 2 of the bill, where we have a new situation where members of the public are going to be allowed to witness these election system tests, that we need to have some kind of framework for that. And so that's what this amendment does, and it puts it in 2 places, page 2, line 12, and again on page 6, line 6. But instead of saying members of the public, we'll say at the county clerk's discretion, not less than 3 members of the public, but not more than a number that will ensure the orderly testing of machines. So it gives the clerk the discretion, tells them we're trying to get it 3 people from the public, but the clerk gets to protect the machines, protect the environment around the machines, and have an orderly way of deciding if there are a lot of members of the public to come. It's within his or her discretion to limit the public participation to the number that the room can accommodate or security can accommodate.
but all the while maintaining 3 members. Thank you, Mr. President. Ask for your favorable consideration. I did send it by the clerks, and they are in agreement.
Okay, discussion on the amendment, Senator Steinmetz.
Thank you, Mr. President. There was discussion on this during the committee, and one of the concerns with a minimum of 3 members and why we didn't look at this as a committee amendment was because 3 is less than the number of representatives for the, each party can have a representative and independent parties can have a representative. So that was why 3 being the minimum was a bit, it's almost like we're constricting that a little bit by saying clerks could say only 3, and now we're actually lessening the amount of people that were able to be there before. So unfortunately, I will be a no on this amendment because of that. I think the number needs to be a little higher for the minimum. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Further discussion on the amendment, Senator Driscoll.
Mr. Chairman, just a question. It says not less than 3, and I question if maybe we shouldn't be looking at an amendment coming that makes it where it could be less. I envision a deal, if everybody's comfortable with machines, you may not have 3 that want to come to it. And now we got to go get the clerk to go out and have to go round up people to actually come. And people want to be there. I'm all in favor of the 3, but if it happens, I'm guessing there's going to be some counties that don't care.
Further discussion, Senator Cole.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, I'm concerned of the language that will ensure an orderly testing of machines. I assume the clerk's making this call, and I think it's too broad. I mean, it's too broad for me, so I'll be a no vote on it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Anybody else for the first time? Senator Nethercott.
Thank you, Mr. President. The clerks are constitutionally and statutorily obligated to ensure the protection of those machines and the integrity of our elections through our 23 counties and their oaths to the Constitution to ensure that. And so, yes, we are relying on their discretion to ensure the protection of those machines.
Thank you. Further discussion before the bill's amendment sponsor? Seeing none, back to you, Senator Case, for your second time.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, I think maybe folks are taking this a little bit wrong. The bill already specifies that before preparing a voting machine for an election, the county clerk shall not later than 5 days before test the voting machine or not later than 24 hours before any retest of a voting machine post a public notice in the office of the county clerk and on the website of the county clerk and notify in writing the county chairman of each political party having a candidate on the ballot and all independent candidates stating the time and place where the voting machines will be prepared for the election. Those representatives can already go there. That's existing law. We're adding that the public representatives will be able to attend now, in addition to the party and the independent people. That's in addition to. And the reason it's in addition to is because, frankly, Mr. President, I think our parties have less influence on elections at this point in our history. And the public are upset with parties. And this is a chance to bring the public in. So it's up to the clerk's discretion, but we'd like to have 3 and as many as the room and facilities and security can safely accommodate. It is conceivable that 100 people will show up for the election machine test. There has to be a way for the clerk to secure that area between security, room in the room, fire codes, all of these things. Now, it's at her discretion. I don't know how you say the language to say, what if only 2 show up? You have to go drag somebody out the street. I don't think it says that. I think it's at, and I said her, and I didn't mean to be sexist, said that the clerk's discretion to allow, we're shooting for the 3, it could be more. You know, it might need some refinement, but I actually think this is a good idea, and it's not meant to exclude any party people or any independent candidate representation. These are in addition to. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. We're voting on second reading amendment number 1, the Senate File 28. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no.
No.
Motion carries. Second reading amendment number 1 to Senate File 28 has been adopted. Senate File 28 having been read 2 separate times, the question is, shall the bill be read a third time? Hearing no objection, it is so ordered. Senate File 30, second reading of the Senate File.
Senate File 30, elections, voter registration revisions sponsored by corporations.
Senate File 30 having been read 2 separate times, the question is, shall the bill be read a third time? Hearing no objection, it is so ordered. Senate File 80, second reading of the Senate File.
Senate File 8, Department of Revenue, electronic communication sponsored by Revenue.
Senate File 80 having been read 2 separate times, the question is, shall the bill be read a third time? Hearing no objection, it is so ordered. Bills on third reading and final passage. Madam Majority Floor Leader, do you have a consent list for us?
I do, Mr. President. Just want to double check it's still current. I move third reading consent list, which is as follows. Senate File 7, theft amendments. Senate File 8, absconding for criminal purposes, criminal offense. Senate File 10, contracts for holding and treating mentally ill detainees. Senate File 18, attendance of students in K through 12 schools. And Senate File 31, Uniform Mortgage Modification Act. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam Majority Floor Leader. Would anybody like any of these bills removed from the consent list? Senator Craigo.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd request Senate File 8, absconding for criminal purposes, criminal offense, be removed from the consent list.
Okay. Any others? Seeing none. Having been read 3 separate times, the question is, shall these bills pass the Senate? Senate File 7, theft amendments. Senate File 10, contracts for holding and treating mentally ill detainees. Senate File 18, attendance of students in K-12 schools. And Senate File 31, Uniform Mortgage Modification Act. Chief Clerk will call the roll.
On the consent list, Anderson. Aye. Barlow. Aye. Boner. Aye. Brennan. Aye. Case. Aye. Cooper. Craigo. Crum. Dockstetter. Driscoll. French. Guru. Hicks. Hutchings. Ide. Jones. Cole. Landon. Larson. Love. McEwen. Nethercott. Olson. Pappas. Pearson. Rothfuss. Salazar. Schuler. Scott. Steinmetz. Beitman.
Aye.
On the consent list, 31 aye. Senate File 7, are there any changes? Closing vote. Closing. Vote closed. Senate File 7, 31 aye. Senate File 10, are there any changes? Closing vote. Closing. Vote closed. Senate File 10, 31 aye. Senate File 18, are there any changes? Closing vote. Closing. Vote closed. Senate File 18, 31I. Senate File 31, are there any changes? Closing vote. Closing. Vote closed. Senate File 31, 31I.
Having received the affirmative vote of the majority of the members elected to the Senate, Senate File 7, theft amendments. Senate File 10, contracts for holding and treating mentally ill detainees. Senate File 18, attendance of students in K-12 schools. And Senate File 31, Uniform Mortgage Modification Act, have passed the Senate. Senate File 8, third reading of the Senate File.
Senate File 8, absconding for criminal purposes, criminal offense, an act relating to crimes and offenses, sponsored by Judiciary.
Senator Craigo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Absent objection, I respectfully request that Senate File 8, absconding for criminal purposes, criminal offense, be laid back one day.
Hearing no objection, it is so ordered. Senate File 8 is laid back for one day. Senator Case.
Mr. President, I messed up. Mr. President, on that discussion of the bill regarding the observers for the voting machines test, the 3 members includes the members of the parties and the independent candidates. So let's revisit this on Monday and think about it, whether we need to raise that number to accommodate that. And thank you for the privilege on this. I was in error, and I appreciate my colleague pointing it out. And let's get it right so that we like it. Remember, though, in this aspect, Mr. President, that in some counties, it's pretty hard to find all the parties that you need to put in the mix, or necessarily. But let's work on it over the weekend, and I appreciate the indulgence of my colleague, and I appreciate the Senate. I'm very sorry.
Thank you, Senator. Appreciate that. Appreciate everybody working together to make bills better. All right. Do we want to do cow, Madam Majority Floor Leader, or we want to eat?
Mr. President, I move that we stand recessed until 2 p.m.
Okay. Are there any announcements? Do you have one? Nope. Okay. Let's go over to Minerals and see what's shaking over at Minerals.
Mr. President, Minerals will meet today upon noon recess about 12:20 at the Capitol Extension Room W4 and online. We'll hear 3 bills: Senate File 20, Data Privacy Government Entities; Senate File 21, Wyoming Stable Token Amendments; and Senate File 22, Unincorporated Nonprofit Associations Amendments. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Schuler.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Education Committee will meet again in our new room downstairs, which we kind of like. And we will take a look at Senate File 59. We did not get done with that, so we'll continue with that bill. We'll also look at, it's K through 12 language and literacy program. And then we'll look at Senate File 35, school district cell phone and smart watch policies. We'll also take a look at Senate File 53, keeping amateurism in high school athletics, and Senate File 90, school facilities use fees. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Brennan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Your committee number 10, Senate Labor, Health, and Social Services, will meet today upon noon recess, and we will say 12:15 in Capitol Extension Room 1 and online to take up Senate File 41, Portable Benefits Acts, and Senate File 48, Stem Cell Freedom Act.
Thank you. Senator McEwen.
Thank you, Mr. President. Your Revenue Committee will meet in room W006 and online. We will be taking up Senate File 044, Gambling Amendments, and Senate File 0046, Skill-Based Amusement Games, Licensed Liquor Establishments, and we will be meeting at 12:15.
Thank you for that.
Mr. President.
Thank you. All right, over to you. Oh, Senator Love has an announcement.
Mr. Chair, or Mr. President, thank you. Wyoming wanted the announcement that they're having a lunch in the Western Herschel building.
Okay. Senator Salazar.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Senate Appropriations will be meeting at 12:15 in room E202, and we will be addressing these bills in order. Senate File 101, Second Amendment Protection Act Amendments 3, Senate File 106, Welfare Fraud Prevention Act Amendments, Senate File 123, Wyoming Energy Dominance Fund, and Senate File 67, Wyoming State Guard Amendments.
Thank you. Any further announcements? Senator Nethercott.
Thank you, Mr. President. Your Rules Committee will be meeting at noon in 7 minutes to review Senate Rule 15-9 in room PMR2. Again, we will be meeting at noon in room PMR2 to review Senate Rule 15-9. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any further announcements? Senator Case?
President, thank you very much. Your committee number 7, corporations, will meet Monday morning at 8 a.m. in our Capitol Room W4 and online to take up Senate File 102, Wyoming Energy Transmission Study, and Senate File 113, 2026 General Election Hand Count Comparison. 8 a.m. Monday. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. Further announcements? Last chance. All right, you've all heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Senate will stand recessed until 2 p.m.